thinking, I don't know what I should do, and I wish you would be right here with me. My mind is filled with pictures of when we used to dance, but now I don't know where you are. I missed you so bad, won't you come back to me? I've got you in my head, you're all that I see. I've lost all my chances, I know that I am too late. I'm thinking of you, I'm thinking of you, I'm thinking of you, wondering if you're thinking about me too. Now it's too late, now it's too late. I'm out of time, but I'm still thinking of you. My heart keeps on bleeding, I have scars, the ones not healing. They're all there because of you. It's my fault, I messed it up, and I should have treated you much better.
I'm trying to cover up my kitchen window with my head because the sun is just beating in my kitchen right now. I hope this works. It kind of looks like there's a halo over my head, but that's fine. Good morning, welcome back to my channel. Happy Tuesday. The sun is shining. It is such a beautiful day. I have all the windows open. The high is like 77 degrees. It's gonna be a good day. If you follow me over on Instagram, you probably saw my post about Stella and her finger. I just wanted to sit down and talk about that a little bit because I've gotten so many DMs. You guys are so sweet and supportive. I appreciate all of you so much over there. And if you aren't following me on Instagram, go over there. It's just Maryssa Albert. And if ever I'm not filming a video, I'm usually over on Instagram. But before I get into it, I did just want to say that it's going to be perfectly fine. Her finger is going to heal. We're probably never gonna know what happened. I'm super grateful, but I did just wanna say that before I get into the story that her finger is healing beautifully. Saturday was such a beautiful day. We've been having amazing weather. It was in the 70s, it was sunny, and it was our first warm day after a lot of cooler days in the week. So the girls wanted to get outside like they always do. So I asked Shane to take the girls outside to play so I could go upstairs and put their laundry away and just clean up the room and kind of spring clean upstairs, just because if I try to do that while they're around, Stella just takes apart all my piles and it's just a lot harder to do when they're around, and obviously I can't do that while they're sleeping because that's their bedroom. So anyway, so I was upstairs cleaning, Shane was outside with the girls, and then I came downstairs for something and I was in my bedroom and I hear Shane run inside and he goes, Maryssa, you gotta come here, but he's like yelling and I'm like, what? He's like, please come here now. And I run out here and I just see blood all over Stella's fingers. She's screaming bloody murder. And I didn't really register what Shane was saying. He said something about the garage door and her finger, and he put a paper towel over it, and I picked up the paper towel and it was covered in blood, but it did not look good, but it was completely covered in blood, and Shane was freaking out. So I didn't really ask any questions. I just went into instant mom mode and I ran into my bedroom. I got changed in like 12 seconds because I was still in my pajamas, and I grabbed a diaper, wipes, and I just grabbed a couple things for Stella, and we are out the door in probably, I don't know, a couple minutes. So I was the one that ended up taking her to the ER. Shane stayed home with Lucy, but he drove us there because Stella was actually okay. I mean, she was crying, but she was okay as long as she didn't look at her finger. But whenever she would see it, she flipped out. So I was in the back seat holding gauze on her finger while Shane drove us there, and he had to help me get her in and out of the car seat and everything because I had to hold her finger the whole time. So she was doing okay. I mean, in the car she was crying, but she wasn't losing her mind. So in my head I was thinking like, okay, maybe it just needs glued back together, like it's probably not that bad. Just in mom mode, so I was just like focused on making sure she felt okay. And luckily our ER is legitimately 2 minutes away from our house. It's so close. Shane helped me get her into the ER, and thankfully, as we were in the car, we were getting ready to pull out of the driveway, I yelled at Shane and I was like, grab her tablet. And I'm so glad that I had him grab her tablet because we were there for, like I said, almost 5 hours. I don't know what we would have done without that. My phone was dead. I had just plugged it in. I remember now. The reason I came downstairs to my bedroom was to plug in my phone because it died. Phone was dead. Luckily, I remembered to grab the charger out of the wall when we were leaving. I got her to the ER and they checked her in. They were pretty busy that day, but they got us back into our own room at least pretty quick. My phone was dead, but I couldn't get to a plug because I was holding Stella, holding her finger, and holding her tablet for her to keep her distracted. I'm trying to keep this as short as possible, but the first nurse came in to take her vitals and stuff, and she decided to look at her finger. But since we put gauze on it, the gauze kind of got stuck to her finger. So when the first nurse pulled the gauze off a little bit, it was so much worse than I thought it was originally. She pulled it off and it was kind of pulling her entire fingertip off with it. Stella screamed bloody murder. She looked at it. Literally the whole fingertip was like on the other side of this gauze. And I'm talking like here on her finger. Obviously my finger's a lot bigger than hers, but it was down this far. And just all on the other side of the gauze. And I didn't know that it was that bad. So she flipped out, the nurse put it back on. She's like, okay, we're not gonna look at that right now. We're just gonna close it up so she doesn't lose her mind. So when I saw that, I just got a big pit in my stomach and I was trying to hold back tears, but obviously I wanted to be strong for Stella. To Stella, I was like, you're okay, you're a tough girl, you're doing so well. You're such a big girl, I'm so proud of you. But in my head, I'm like, holy shit, her whole fingertip is off, it's gone. And then when the first ER doctor came in to look at it, he asked what happened and I told him that it just got stuck in the garage door, because at this point I hadn't talked to Shane a lot about it because my phone was dead and I had finally gotten it into a charger. So I didn't really know what happened. All I remember Shane saying was the garage side door. That's basically all I remember. So I just assumed, since it was kind of windy that day, that the garage door slammed closed on her finger. He wanted to look at it again. He pulled off the gauze and obviously she lost her mind again. Her whole fingernail popped off on the thing immediately, which we knew because I saw the fingernail dangling off when I initially saw her. So the whole fingernail popped off. Basically the entire tip was off, but it was still connected by a little skin. And the ER doctor said that she needed to get an x-ray because of how far down it was. So he wanted to make sure that it didn't hit her bone or anything else. So then he kind of bandaged it up a little bit for her so I didn't have to hold it the whole time. And then they decided they weren't gonna open it again until they figure out what they're gonna do. So they came into that room, they gave her an x-ray. She did so good with the x-ray. This child is just such a champ. I'm so proud of her. Then the ER doctor came back in a while later and he said that he's gonna have the orthopedic surgeon come look at it because of how far down it is. And that just kind of made my stomach sink because I was like, if they want a surgeon to look at it, like if this ER doctor can't figure it out. I didn't feel amazing at the time about her keeping the tip of her finger because I kind of overheard him talking to some nurses about taking it off. I just had this lump in my throat because I'm like, she has the cutest little fingers and it's the ring finger on her left finger. I was like, come on, no, that would be so sad. But obviously there's so many worse things in the world, but I still was sad for her, but I was trying to hold it together. So they decided that they wanted to put an IV in Stella to give her medicine to be able to look at her finger because obviously she was freaking out anytime they looked at it and anytime she saw it. I was trying to cover up her eyes, but it just wasn't working. So they wanted to give her an IV to give her a little bit of medicine to mellow out so they would be able to look at it and figure out what they needed to do. So they tried to give her an IV twice and it didn't work. It wouldn't thread. She did so well. The nurses were like, she's handling this better than so many adults would. But I think she just has veins like me where they're just so tiny, and obviously she is so tiny. So neither one of the IVs worked and they decided that they didn't want to stick her a third time. I'm sorry if you can hear the sirens going off. It's the first Tuesday of the month in the Midwest. So if you guys know, it's a tornado siren. We're gonna wait a second because these are so loud. Okay, sirens are now done. That went on for a long period of time. They couldn't get an IV in her arm. It was very sad, but they just decided to give her a shot of medicine and then they put some kind of medicine up her nose. I don't remember what it was called, but she basically knocked out within a couple minutes. They had the surgeon come in, but he didn't come look at it until she was basically knocked out, because obviously they couldn't open it with her being able to see it. So the surgeon came in and he looked at it and he said that the tip did look good because it was still pink. He said if it was white or already turning darker or gray, that wasn't a good sign, but since it was pink, it did look really good. Say none of this was quick. We were there for so many hours. It was all a lot of waiting and Stella being super patient during nap time. But they handled it really well. I feel like they were very attentive to us. Our nurses were amazing and they handled Stella so great. They all loved her. They thought she was so cute. So there was a lot of waiting, but they were very helpful, you know, like it wasn't like a miserable experience because we were there forever. We were just there for a long time because it was a busy, nice Saturday afternoon. Anyway, the surgeon came in and he looked at it, and I'm so grateful that he was in the hospital that day. I am so glad that he was there because I just feel like this is what he does, you know? This is his bread and butter. He takes care of kids' broken arms, takes care of things like this is what he does. And he thought the tip was pink enough that he felt confident in putting it back on. So he sewed it up. I don't know how many stitches there are. It kind of just looks like a running stitch. And then they used dissolvable stitches so that we wouldn't have to get them taken out with her tiny little fingers. He sewed it back on, he wrapped it up. She had this cute little mitt. She's upgraded just to a little bandage thing on her finger now, but she had this really cute mitt. I'll put the picture from my Instagram on here. She's so cute. And then we just had to wait a while for her to wake up. Because the benefit of the IV is that she would wake up a lot sooner. Everyone is coming out of my bedroom now. Of giving her an IV was that she would wake up a lot sooner than with the shot. But since I couldn't get it in, she had to wake up and it took a lot longer with the shot. I'm sorry if you can hear them, but this is just life. When she did start waking up, she was absolutely zooted. She was just like all over. She couldn't really use her limbs. She would sit up and then she would like fall back down. So it definitely took a while for her to wake up, but it was very cute. It actually really scared me at one point, which the nurse said it was normal. Whatever they gave her, she wasn't swallowing as much because she was so out of it. And she was kind of starting to gurgle a little bit, but she said it was normal and she like pushed her chin up and then it was okay. But it was definitely a scary mom moment for me when I kept hearing her like gurgling. It was so scary. Handled it like a champ. Eventually we got discharged, and when we are walking out, the nurses are all saying goodbye to her, and I hear one nurse say, "So did he just take the tip off?" And the nurse that we had, she said, "No, he sewed it back on." And I heard them like be surprised. And I'm just so grateful for that surgeon that sewed it back on, because then we went for our checkup yesterday, so 48 hours later, and it looked amazing. I don't think that I can put the picture on YouTube. I don't think they like pictures like that, but I did put it on my Instagram, and if you go into my little spring bubble on my feed, I saved it in there so you can see it if you don't have a weak stomach. But it looked amazing. The tip is so pink. It's healing beautifully, and when we go back on Thursday, he thinks that she's just gonna leave it out and it's just gonna heal the rest of the way in the air. So I'm blown away. She is a champ. She slept all night last night. She didn't wake up once. That's the first night that she didn't wake up once. So she's doing amazing. She just has to take an antibiotic 4 times a day, which is a lot. They told me 4 times a day and I'm like, holy cow, that's a lot of doses of antibiotic. But I get it. You don't want it to get infected. That would not be good. I had to turn on Bluey for my kids so I can finish filming this quick, but I'm starting to look like a founding father. Let me fix this. So that was our whole ER experience. Stella handled it like such a champ. She was such a strong, big girl. I'm so proud of her. But on to how it happened, because I know that's what you guys are here for. When I took her to the ER, all I knew was that she got her finger stuck in the garage side door. I'm not talking about like our garage doors that we put our cars into, but the side door into our garage. So just like a normal steel door. But I figured out later in the ER when I could finally get a hold of Shane and he told me what happened is she got her finger stuck in the back of the door, like by the hinges, not the front of the door by the doorknob, but Back here, there's the hinges, and you know, when it opens, there's like a gap there. That door can swing all the way open. And Stella was walking into the garage. So it swings outside and Stella's walking into the garage, I think. Again, I wasn't outside for this. This is just what Shane has recounted to me, walking inside the garage. And there's like a little lip on the threshold of that door where you could kind of trip over it. It's not really something that like a grown adult could probably trip over, but since Stella's so small, she trips over it sometimes. So she holds on to the side of the door to walk in so she doesn't trip, because she's tripped over it before. Actually, now that I think about it, I wonder if they were going outside of the garage. It's irrelevant, it doesn't actually matter. But anyway, so she was holding on to get into the garage, and Shane, in his head, he thought, well, I need to close that door because it keeps swinging in the wind, and he wanted to prop it open so it wouldn't swing anymore. Him not noticing that Stella's holding on, walking in, he pulls the door closed behind him, and he said he knew immediately what he did. And he said that Stella pulled her fingers out, and he just saw it before it started bleeding everywhere, and he saw it completely off. So in his mind, he was like, I just chopped off my child's finger. I didn't see it in that state till it was getting sewn up, so I didn't think it was that bad. So I didn't really understand why he was so worked up. I was like, it's okay, like we'll just get a stitch, it'll be fine, no big deal. I didn't see it like he did. So now I can understand, after seeing it sewn up, why he felt so awful. But you know, he was freaking out, so he didn't get to that when I saw him. So I didn't hear his story of how it happened until we were hours later into the ER. Now that I'm explaining this to you, I think I'm explaining it wrong. I think he was actually pulling the door open to prop it up, like it wasn't open all the way. I think he was actually pulling it open the rest of the way to prop it open so it wouldn't swing, and that's how her fingers got stuck. So Shane has just felt so unbelievably guilty this whole time. He felt terrible. He just kept texting me the whole time we were there saying how awful he feels. He has a pit in his stomach, he can't eat. He felt so bad, and it was just a fluke accident. Like it was 100% an accident. And he knows it's an accident, but it doesn't make your heart hurt less when you hurt your child accidentally. So I feel for him because he has felt so guilty ever since. But when I sent him the picture yesterday of her checkup and how amazing her finger looked, he was just shocked. He was so blown away, and he's so grateful that it's gonna be okay because he has felt horrible. How it happened, she just had her fingers in the back of the door and they got pinched, and she has a bruise on the top of her middle finger, and they think that that fingernail might fall off too, but yeah, it got this finger the most, and then there's a bruise on this one, and then she has a big bruise down here and then a bruise right here. She's gonna be completely fine. Honestly, she's back to her normal self. She just has that little bandage. She gets her bandage off in a couple days, and she's going to be totally fine. So that's what happened. They're being so funny. The wind didn't slam the door into her fingers. It was just an accident. So I just decided to go back and read Shane's text from when it happened and what he said happened. So he said she was in the doorway grabbing the door to step over the threshold like she does, and she was behind me and I didn't know it. So when the wind blew it open, I just grabbed it and opened it to prop it open with those end tables, and when I heard her scream, I knew what happened. Hi, baby. Hi. So yeah, that makes sense. So she was behind him and he just pushed the door open to prop it open all the way, and it pinched her finger. That's what happened to our sweet girl. Lucy was there too, huh? It was so sad. You were so worried about Stella, huh? I'm so grateful she's doing so well. We're seriously never gonna know. In like 6 months, it's gonna be a distant memory and it's gonna be fine. I say that I am kind of having a little bit of a hard time going into our backyard and our garage. I don't know why, because I know that it could have been so much worse, and like, sure, maybe just stitches on a finger aren't the end of the world, but it doesn't really matter. Seeing your child in pain still kind of crushes your soul. So whenever I look at our garage door, I just kind of get this like I don't know, this feeling in my stomach, and it stresses me out. So we've been doing our bubble machine in the front yard right now. Really hurt my heart to see her in pain. I feel like I really handled it super well in the ER. I just was like figuring it out. I just wanted to be strong for her. But then after we got her to sleep that night, I had like a very hard time. I couldn't stop like tearing up over it. And she did great, you know. I think she's handling it much better than we did, especially Shane. I just feel so bad for him. He felt so bad, and he has just snuggled the crap out of that girl ever since. He feels terrible. So there you have it, now you know. And the surgeon did say that this is just like such a common injury in toddlers because they do hold on to doors a lot to get into rooms or to go outside or something else. He said this is like something that happens frequently. So it doesn't make it feel any better in my heart, but it is a pretty common one. So I guess just be careful with your toddlers and doors, and honestly adults too. It could happen to anyone. I mean, it could literally happen to anyone. So Stella, come here. Hi girl, come here. There is the sweet big girl. She got a new baby at Walgreens when I went to go pick up her prescription on Saturday.
Baby.
Oh baby, hey, can you show him your owie? She got upgraded to just this big old thing on her finger. Show them your other owie. Oh, look at those bruises from her IVs. Whenever we ask her to show her owie, she always shows this one first. Hi, babe. Bootsy? Yeah. Owie. Yeah, you got an owie. So when she had her whole hand wrapped for the 2 days, it was really cute, but she didn't sleep as good with it, just because it kind of got stuck on things. But now that she has this, she took a great nap yesterday, and she slept all night long. You're such a tough girl, huh? Ah! She is such a tough girl. We're so proud of her. Kissing your owies. I love you, Stella. So we're gonna end this video right here. I feel like I just talked for so long, but she is great. Are you doing good? Are you happy?
Baby, yeah.
Oh, you wanna put it on you wanna put baby's hair up?
Yeah.
This video right here, thank you guys so much for watching and supporting my channel. Okay.
Baby.
And I am going to vlog tomorrow. So I will have a normal video up tomorrow, but I just wanted to get this up because I did get so many DMs of people asking, and I didn't want to type it out a million different times. So there we go. Bye. Yourself. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Tick tock, the clock keeps ticking. I don't know what I should do, and I wish you would be right here with me. My mind is filled